Noah? Noah? I'm streaming.
Oh, hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. And because I can't hear me at all. Oh, you can? Okay, good. Good, 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 good. There it is. Excellent. Thank you for your immense patience today. Um, let's jump right in. Thank you for being here. Genesty, is that how I say your name? I'll go into the chat on my phone as well. Now, this is a question that we've been getting. Oh, I'm glad I got your name right. Thank you. This is a question we've been getting for a while now, right? Because quite a few people have been dealing with these kinds of things for a while. Um, but what it is, right? Let's break it down for you guys right now because there, I'm in the chat. Let's break it down. You see, what's been happening, right? Then people say, you know what, I just don't have the will to fight. I'm just gonna take what this life is. It's shit, and I'm just gonna take it. So, you know what that is? That means your whole life, you've been told something your whole life so far. And that thing that you've been told has been coming at you day after day after day after day. And that is the key. It doesn't matter if it's the truth or if it's a lie. As long as you believe it, and the more you hear it is what makes you believe it. So now we've got two options here. We are either going to look at that situation, look at that hand we've been dealt, and we're going to say, okay, look, it's been that way. Because the interesting thing with people who say they don't want to change anymore, they've just tried too many things and nothing is happening. And so they just accept, right? The thing is, what you've been fighting against is the shadow you've been fighting against to force things to change. That's what you've been fighting against. And the reason why you've been fighting against it is from a place of nescience, meaning you did not have the information required to facilitate your change. You didn't understand how the body is designed. You didn't understand how the laws work. But the difference between then and now is you know now that the body relies on a habit. And the habit is what you choose. It is the behavior you choose. So if you're looking at your life and you're saying, look, I've only had this garbage. And the funny thing is, even though you look at it and you say it's garbage and you want to change, you're like, I can't. But that's, I said, only because you've been fighting the shadow. You've been fighting what you thought was something, but it wasn't. You see, we don't fight to change. We make a decision. We say, this is what I'm unhappy with. We pull out the law of polarity and we say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I don't have any money. My family sucks. I don't have a job. That's where you are right now. Where do you want to be instead? You get out your pencil and your paper and you write down where you are at. Because you're going to apply the law. You're not going to fight shadows anymore. So if you say, I'm here now, well, then where do you want to be? Because if you notice, even if you give up, okay, and you don't want to change anymore, the desire doesn't go away, it'll still haunt you. And that's what makes you more agitated. So write down where you are now. What is it that you want to change? Because 80% of the change comes from the acknowledgement of what it is you want to change. So if you say, I don't like that I don't have any confidence, well, then you know you want confidence. What does confidence mean? It means there's something that you do and you know that you do it well. Then that is where you draw your strength from, the knowledge that you do something well. That's your confidence, because there's confidence in your life everywhere, right? Confidence is everywhere in your life, and you can draw from it. You can pull up the sensation of being confident in your body. And the more you feel confident in your body, the more you'll begin to confirm it in the outward expression, right? Think about this. We've been walking around with feelings of inadequacy. Well, then, as within, so without. You can only confirm your inadequacy because you believe it. You must see it and experience it because you've been holding it for a long time. So, the work that must be done is to generate the sensation in your body based upon where do you want to be now? That's where we're going. That's what we're doing. Where do you want to be? What do you want to experience? Pull up that sensation and feel it in your body, and that's where you spend most of your day, in that sensation. Because what have you been doing before? Spending most of your day in the other sensation. Without complaint, I might add. You've just been doing it because it was the habit. So now, to form the new habit, a habit is anything that you do consistently, the same way every time. So if you say more confidence is required, pull up the sensation of confidence in your body and start to feel that every day as much as you can throughout the day, and hold yourself there. This is what we do. Because, as I say, I understand what it's like to say, ugh, I've been fighting too much, man, I'm done. I'm going to just give in to this. And so you give in to those feelings of inadequacy, and what they do is make you feel worse and make you hate where you're at. When in actuality, it is only the thought that is holding you there. That's all. It is only the thought that is holding you hostage right there. But you don't have to be held hostage by your thoughts. You can change your thoughts based upon that sensation you want to experience in your body. Because the sensation in your body that matches the new thought will bring you the experience. But you've got to stay focused on it. You see, because when you're doing it the other way, when you are doing it the other way, and you're walking around with low feelings, you're doing it. And you're doing it rather well, but just not in the direction you want to go. So if you can hold feelings of inadequacy, you can also hold feelings of confidence. Because all you're doing is holding a sensation. It doesn't matter what name you give it, that's where you get to choose. You get to choose. Does that make sense today? I know Genesty is here, but I don't know if David is still here, but there's 3 of you here. Is that making any sense? And again, I do appreciate your patience. It is truly, truly appreciated. I just didn't expect traffic to be such a downer. Does that make sense? We're going to go over the steps again. You can clearly see where it is that you are dissatisfied. If you think you're too messy, well then, on the scale of polarity, from messiness, you want cleanliness. So you can only start, right? You start by saying, all right, yeah, right now I'm messy, but I'd like to be more tidy. So what do you have to do? You have to pick up something. Not. You have to pick up something, and the more that you pick up, the cleaner the space becomes. And then going forward, what caused it to be messy? Did you just not care? But now you begin to realize that that tidy space that you've just created makes you feel good within your body. You have a good sensation when you look at it and you sit back and you go, yeah, that's nice. That's clean. And so what do? You take something off, you put it where it belongs. Why? Because of the sensation of how clean in your space feels. That's why you do it. So it's the same thing for the sensation. The thought of, why can't I change? Why can't I be better? What is it that you're holding on to that causes you to think that way? Because it's a thought that you're holding on to. So you find that thought because you can see it clearly. Because it's a sensation in your body. My body feels anxious. It feels agitated. It feels okay. If that's what the body feels like, use that in polarity and say, this is what my body feels like now, and here's what I want it to feel like instead. Well, I don't know I've never felt those feelings before. Yes, you have. We've always had those feelings, those sensations in the body. And if you've never had that, somebody has, so that you can recreate it in yourself. And then the more you do it, you find that, okay, look, I feel this way right now. And you know what? I don't want to. I want to feel this way over here. And you start to change your thoughts to match what you want to be. This is all it is. You're just swapping out one thought for another. Yes, it may seem taxing and tiring because you've held one particular thought for a long time, but the problem is those kind of low thoughts are heavy to bear because the vibration drags you down. And so you're fighting to hold that up when it's telling you gotta let that go because it is too heavy. That's why you're tired. That's why the mental will to change has diminished. Only because you've been holding that state, that sensation for too long. Remember the law of rhythm. You have an ebb and a flow. What you're doing with that low sensation is forcing it to stay there, when in actuality it wants to move because that is law. You cannot fight the law. That's why it beats you and makes you say, I give up. I don't want to change anymore. That's too hard to change. Because you've been holding something that was low and heavy for too long. So find something that is lighter to carry, which is the thought of where you would like to be. And if you still say, I don't know what that feels like, now you say to yourself, I don't know what that feels like. I've never experienced it. I don't know anybody who's experienced it. How about you show me what it feels like? Ask, and you shall receive. All that is required is that first initial step of recognition and acknowledgement that, hey, I do not like where I'm at and I want to change. And as soon as you do that, you start to feel a little bit lighter. Well, then start to follow the light feeling. But the habit is to go back. So every time you catch yourself going back, you say, no, that was too heavy. I don't want to do it again. We're going to stay over here with this thought. And every time it presents itself with heavy, no, we're going over here. Because you know what over here feels like. And it is nice. It's light. That's all. See, and you're not fighting, are you? No, you're not. You're just simply saying, no, we're over here. No, we're over here. Like if you've ever had small children and they're in their high chair and they start to throw toys and you go and you get it and you give it to them and they throw it back. Eventually they stop throwing it, because the game, right? You got to look at it sometimes as a game. You're like, how long can I sustain this beautiful sensation in my body, this feeling? How long can I do that? And that's what you begin to do, as opposed to fighting every shadow on the outside, arguing, trying to force yourself to be heard. That's what wears us out. So what are we going to do? Recognize what it is that you want to change. Recognize what you don't like. And then you go by way of law of polarity, because it takes you from to where you want to be. This is what we do. This is how we do it. Over and over and over again, until the new thing that you've been directing yourself toward becomes your new lifestyle, your new habit that you've programmed yourself to behave with. But Angela, you didn't have the life I had. My parents didn't even want me. She was on the way to the abortion clinic with me. Those kinds of things. The good news is she didn't. That's the great news, is that she didn't. That is something my grandfather always said to me. And if I knew anybody that had a hard life, it was him when he was a youngster. But he made a determination. As long as there's breath in my lungs, I can make a change. I don't have to be the same way as them. And the only reason why sometimes we think that things are hopeless is, again, because we are fighting the shadow. You can't fight a shadow. Think about this. There's no one there. But you are using all of your energy and your strength to fight something, a phantom. So what phantoms are you fighting today? You don't have to fight. Oh, but this person doesn't like me. This person embarrassed me. This person spread rumors about me. This person, this person, this person. You see it? You see what you're fighting? Yeah, but they're supposed to. They're supposed to like me. They're supposed to appreciate me. All my friends have abandoned me. I don't have good friends. You see what you're fighting? Begin to make a determination. What do you want to be? And the more you stick with that attitude, you see, you can't cuss on YouTube. I don't want to cuss. I think I got away. They say you can't cuss in the first 8 seconds. But you got to get the attitude that says, you know what? I don't care. I don't care what you think of me. Your opinion doesn't matter. You've got to get that attitude. Get that attitude. Because it is in that attitude that you have decided who you want to be. That's what it is. The attitude of indifference that says, you know what? I've been fighting for too long. These people don't know what I fight. So I will not let anybody else contribute to this fight. So no, I'm not fighting anymore, and I'm not taking on anything else to fight. So if you don't like me, that's on you. If you don't want to be my friend, that's on you. But I don't need one more thing to have to fight against. And you know what? You keep your attention. Oh, Christian, I feel you. I just can't say it. Right? But that's the attitude. Because now what you begin to do, you begin to fortify yourself. You begin to look at yourself and you see your value. You begin to look at yourself in the mirror and you say, you know what? Even though I may have been unwanted by her or by him, I'm still here. I want me because I have this life and I want to see how good it can get. That's the attitude. And the minute you start walking with that attitude of, I want to see how good my life can get, because what do? How bad can it get? Oh, Lord. That's why I'm telling you, it is irrelevant, these words. Christian, let me tell you, I know you say it's a catch-22, but let me put it to you in the words of the law. You see, that unconditional love has nothing to do with them. That unconditional love is all you. You know why? Because as within, so without. When you begin to appreciate yourself and value what you are, you can't hate because there's no hate in you. And as long as there's no hate within you, you don't experience hate on the outside. But the reason why it can be challenging is because we look on the outside and we say, but this person is vile. I cannot love them. No, because the directive is not to love them. The directive is to love them the way you love you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do you know what that is? That is the law of correspondence. As within, so without. That's what it is. So it doesn't matter if you think they are hard to love or hard to forgive. It ain't about them. The law does not see who hurt you. The law sees you walking with hurt. As within, so without. Does that make sense, Christian? That's what makes it considerably easier to love unconditionally. Because you have to love yourself unconditionally. You have to remind yourself, listen, I'm valuable in spite of what anybody says. That's their opinion. They don't know me, because then you toss it right back. As within, so without. So if they have these toxic things to say to you, as within, so without, that's inside of them. And by way of law of gender, you don't have to receive every projection that is tossed at you. You have the skill of discernment to choose. This is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept. Does that make sense, Christian? I trust that it does, right? That's to make things easier for yourself. You see, the law is geared towards order and simplicity. Christian, I can only tell you the way the law is. I can only tell you the way that the law is. It makes life simple. It is telling you that you are responsible. So that's why when you get exhausted from fighting the phantoms on the outside, that means you've been busy looking outside. Right? So all of those things are sapping your energy that you fight against. So set the parameter. When you say, I really do like what you said, though. I got to put it up. I like what you said about that, because it has merit to it, because you have the attitude now with, look, you know what? I want to see how good life can get for me. Walk with that attitude. That sensation in the body, ooh, I want to see how good this is. There's a sense of anticipation, a sense of eagerness, a sense of curiosity, a sense of wanting to know. That is of a higher vibration. Because remember, thoughts have a vibration, and the thought is the cause. You see? So when I hear these things, when people say, I can't think my way out of anything again, and not anymore, I'm just tired. Because you've been thinking the wrong things. You've been thinking the heavy thoughts that drag you. That's what we've been doing. And because we've been doing that, that's what wears you out. So today, if you were here at Morning Inspiration, then you got the missive. The directive was to not judge. See if you can make it through your day without judging. That means if you're going to experience not having to judge somebody on the outside, you're going to have to not judge you. And we are so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. We walk around all day with these arguments in our heads. Oh, nobody cares. We walk around with that. And you wonder why every time you meet somebody, they're just persnickety and cranky. Like, Perhaps you need some more fiber in your diet, right? Like, that's what I'm saying to you today. We do not give up. We re-examine the situation. Think about it. When you go to your doctor, right, and you get one diagnosis that you don't find appropriate, then you give up trying to find a second opinion, a third opinion? Why not? Because your life is valuable to you. That's why you seek the second opinion. But truthfully, now here we sit. The only opinion that matters right now is that of yourself, your opinion. And the law gives you the straightest answer there is for what your opinion of yourself should be. The law gives you that. There's no, you don't have to, well, maybe it's telling me. That's not what the law does. The law is saying to you, the universe is a mental creation. As within the self, so outside of the self. So if you stop there, you'll understand what you need to have within you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have the desire to change. That's what it is. And someone said to me, Angela, I truly appreciate your patience with me, but I cannot change. This is the hand I've been given in my life, and I finally accept it after all of these years. I don't have the willpower to fight anymore. This is my life now. But yet when I talk to them, they say, I just wish things were different. But things can be different. You just have to find that sensation in your body. Here's what I mean by sensation in your body. I'm going to walk you through it for a minute. If you pull up the thought of someone that has hurt you, we start here because this is the thing that is most readily available to us. If you think about someone who you find untrustworthy, or, they're flaky, or, they scammed you, what's your body feel like? As soon as you think of them, what does that body feel like to you? Now, what if you think of someone or something that you absolutely enjoyed and that was so pleasant? Now, what does the body feel like? Now, what does the body feel like? And the only thing that made the body change was what you thought about. That's your cue that the two things match, because they always have to match by way of the law of correspondence. If you think about them and then the body responds. But if you think about them, you go, oh, then the body also responds. The thought and the sensation in the body match. So now if you're saying, I can't change, see what the body feels like right there. See what it feels like? There's a sense of dread. There's a sense of defeat. And you know what? It feels crummy. It feels, right? You don't want to feel that way. You don't want to have that sensation in your body. It is unsustainable. Any of them, whether it be a good sensation, a bad sensation, indifferent, so long as you force the law of rhythm to stay somewhere for an extended amount of time. This is why in traditional Chinese medicine, you could win the lottery and drop dead. It's the sheer excitement. It is the extreme. And so what we're doing is we're walking around with these extreme feelings in our bodies. And because they're extreme, they wear you down very quickly. because you're not allowing rhythm to do what it, you see, you can't fight rhythm. When rhythm says it's time for the ebb, go with the ebb. Because if you try and hold the ebb there, when it goes back to the flow, you're going to be dragged with the flow because you are not stronger than the law. But if you work within the parameters of the law, this is why you do it in short bursts. You get the sensation in your body that you want. Short burst, time release, right? As they tell you in medicine, the dose is the poison. You understand what I'm saying? Let me get a sip because I think there's a. There you go. I'm going to come to that in a second, Christian. Just let me get a sip of water. My throat is just exhausted today because I've been working on this project, this narration project. But it's, oh boy. When I found out that I can conjure up any feeling through thought, intention, and focus alone, feelings of doubt, time and space started to disappear since everyone and everything is within. How beautifully said. How beautifully said. And that's why persistence, as you say, Christian, is important. The more you do it in short bursts, right? It begins to take hold. Short bursts every time. That's why I tell you, 30 seconds. Bring up that sensation with that thought that matches for 30 seconds. And how many times can you do it throughout the day? You don't have to do it for an hour. Gosh, no, because that will tire you. Because you have to let go. Yes. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? So what are you going to do? You don't have to fight. Change the thought. And the thought that you now choose to think will show up in your body. And if your body feels the way you want it to feel, then the thought is correct. But if you, for instance, if you say, I need more money in the bank, and every time you think about money, your body is just a rock. It is tense. It is just, shoulders go up, the belly is tight, fist, jaw, everything. You're just a mass of nerves because you don't know where the next part's going to come from. You don't know where it's going to be from. You're fretting, you're worrying. That is not the same as I have money. So when you say the affirmation of, I always have money, money comes to me, but your body is saying to you, lie detected, lie detected. So what do you think of money then? And that's why I say, think about a time when you had money. You see, even though it might be few and far between at the beginning, you've always had money. Yes, you have. So bring up that sensation of relief of having the money. So if you go outside and you find a $5 bill, bring up that sensation. Shoot, I can't go nowhere without money following me and just dropping in my pathway because it just showed up, didn't it? So you draw from that sensation. And so now the next time you begin to think of money, you begin to get the sensation of ease and relaxation in the body that confirms how you truly feel about money now. You are reprogramming yourself at all times, right? So now you say that. And let me give you an example, a practical example of trying to hold the law of rhythm in a particular place. I stayed up for most of the night narrating because the content was just absolutely is amazing, right? And so, because I'm narrating the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, and I could not put it down. But you see, my body said, "Oh, you flowing? That's nice. But it is time for the ebb now. It is time for rest." And so I pushed. I pushed. And now I'm tired because I didn't do by way of rhythm what I should have done. You can't fight the law. You have to go with it. Indeed, Christian. Indeed. Time travel does exist. Your memories definitely show that to you. When you reminisce, you're in the past. When you project with the hope of you are in the future. Yes, it does. You're absolutely correct. So you see, my friends, examine the situation that has you so exhausted. Look at law of polarity. Look at where you are now and where you want to be. And that simple recognition is like the first 3 or 4 steps in the right direction. Right? It's just, you need to know that the law is not there to punish you. Well, when you don't go to sleep and you it feels like a punishment when you're tired, I'll tell you that. But the law didn't punish me. I just didn't go with it. So then you go outside of the law. That's what makes it feel like a punishment. And when you flow within the law, that's what it makes it feel like a reward. But punishment and reward are man-made things. Right? So we experience them as humans. So just see where it is, where you are now and where you want to be. If that means you have to, because sometimes it's not always feasible to escape the present day situation right there, right then. You say, but I don't want to live there anymore with these people. I don't want to be around these people anymore. Then you start to see where you want to be. You say, you know what? I need my own place. Huh? A nice little 2-bedroom. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Well, I don't have the money just yet. But the law tells you what? The law tells you know what it is that you want. And begin to feel it in your body over and over again. Because think about it. When you go and you lock yourself in your room, right? Because that's your only safe space. And that feels so good and you feel relief for that. Now, what you can do is when you close your eyes and you lay on that bed and you bring up that sensation of relief, your body doesn't know what bed you're in, honey. So that could be the bed in your new place. So every time begin to conjure that sensation up and you will have your new space in no time at all because your body says, well, this is happening now. You don't have to wait till you have all the money to move. Ah, Ms. M, I love you. Right? That's why when Neville Goddard says to you, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that's what he's speaking of. I gotta take off my sweater. I'm sweating, y'all. Hold on. I know you can still hear me a little bit, but just too hot. Getting me worked up. But that's what he means when he says, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So now when you say, you know what? The thought of my apartment, if that is too much for you to think about and you can't get past the doubt of this will never happen, begin to lay on your bed and have the sensation of being in your own sanctuary. Because if you get in your car and that's your only reprieve from being in the same house as them, then that is the feeling you want to conjure up in your body. But don't have an argument with them in your mind and go home and expect that you won't have the argument there. You see what I mean by fighting phantoms? You're generating that argument in your mind. It's imaginary, but your body is feeling as though it is happening now. And so that is what is exhausting you, the fight at home. Wherever you, if you go to the gym and that's your only place of reprieve, then bring up the sensation of reprieve and hold it 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 5 seconds. But how many times can you conjure it up throughout the day and have it in your body? Because the more you do that, and one of the most potent times to do it is as you're falling asleep. So pull up that sensation as you're falling asleep and allow your subconscious mind, because she will say to you, she'll ask you, is this the experience you would like to have? And you conjure up the sensation of that experience and you give it to her. She'll take it because that's what she does. She receives without complaint or judgment. And because she receives without complaint or judgment, she's also faithful to bring it to life. Right? So today, the first step to regaining the control is to use the law of polarity and understand where you are now and where you would like to be. Step 1. Step 2, where you want to be has a sensation. This is why Neville Goddard tells you creation is finished. All things exist because the sensation is there. So if you can feel that sensation, then it exists. And begin to feel that sensation as much as you can, because you already know you're already feeling the other sensation. So you see, you have the capability of feeling a sensation. All you're going to do now is switch out from to. Right? That's what we're going to do. I'm just seeing here in the chat, I'm just seeing these things. Walter, yes, appreciation and acceptance. I was in the kitchen that day and I said, you know what? I just want to feel appreciated and accepted. I honestly said that. That's all I said. And sure enough, since that day, that's what I've been going through and feeling in just about every interaction I've been having. You know, because then I started to realize, I do appreciate what I do. I love what I do. So that's why, to go back to what Christian said earlier, when it comes time to accepting and appreciating someone else, you know how to do that because you do it for you. I'm not talking about people who have been altered chemically by way in their brains because of a foreign substance they're taking, like a drug addiction. I'm not speaking of that. Because once the mind has been compromised, you cannot get through it. They're no longer the same person. And it is always for your safety to separate. You can wish them well from afar because you want well for yourself. That's it. But you don't dwell because that person is no longer the same. It's as if you're dealing with someone who's possessed. You can't get through to them because they're not there. So you don't fight against by trying to force something, right? Because you heard you're supposed to forgive. That'll be another day when we have the 24th. I think that's the forgiveness class. Does that make sense? Oh, it's so good to see you all here. Are there any questions about how you can apply it more to your specific situation? If you have one, just drop it in the chat. If it's too personal, you all know how to find me with the information, and I will give it to you. Yeah, but I trust it makes sense because I understand. I understand, like, vulnerable moment. If anybody fought for a long time to be accepted and appreciated, I can say it was myself. I can speak from my experience. I know what it was like to chase my father's car down the street. He came home from work, he showered, he ate his supper, and he's like, okay, baby, I'm going out with my friends. He brought me home and he gave me to his mother. He was always in the house, sure, because he lived there. He would bring me fruit, he'd give me money. But do you know who told me Bible stories and sat me on their lap? That's right, my granddaddy. And even though he did that, a part of me still always wanted my father's acceptance. And I'm sure he accepts me, but just in his own way. But you see, that phantom that I was fighting, was like draining. Every decision I made had to do with, am I going to be accepted and appreciated from this interaction? You see, because it was running under the surface, yes, that old habit of constantly fighting for it. When in actuality, I don't have to fight for it. It is already mine because I can do it for myself now. I couldn't as a child. And that's why it's important that we remember the words of Paul, the epistle, when he said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I behaved as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. To put away childish things means you look back and you say, oh my God, that's the habit that I've been using for 40 years. And you make the decision. You make the decision that the habit from back there can no longer control you. And you look at polarity and you say, oh, right, I've been chasing this. Allow me to accept it. And you will begin to feel those sensations in the body. And you will also begin to recognize when you go back into the old habit of trying to get it from somewhere else. Or you'll feel it. And you'll see exactly what you're doing. Because now you knew. Now you knew, oh, that's what I was doing back then. Oh, you still might have that habit, but I don't do that anymore. This is what I do now. I can conjure up the sensation of appreciation and acceptance because as within, so without. Do you see how much easier the law makes things for us if we would just apply? But yet we sit in our flesh and we allow the flesh and what it has been taught to do to manipulate. When in actuality, your flesh is your servant, not your master. Mozinga. Well said. Well said, my resident etymologist. You appreciate them because they are you. Exactly. So you're appreciating yourself. Why? Because everybody is yourself pushed out? Yes. And do you know why, Christian, that everybody is yourself pushed out? The law of correspondence. As within, so without. But that's it. We become robotic when we allow ourselves to live strictly on autopilot and not actually make decisions based upon what we truly want to experience. That's what makes us robotic. You program it and you set it and forget it. And everybody's talking about AI now, so we may as well just touch on it. If you think about it, AI is being trained by who? The most undisciplined species, humanity. We allow our emotions to run amok with us. But as I said before, one does not need to control emotions. Choose them. Choose the emotion. Because when you choose it, you're not forcing it. You see, when you force against something, it pushes back. It has to resist. See it? This is why you didn't lose the mental will to change your life. You've just been focused in the wrong direction. And because that direction is heavy and you're fighting all the time, these phantoms, right? When you're fighting all the time, that's what makes you tired. But understand, if you apply the law, and I know she said to me, I don't even have the strength to apply the law. That one cut me to the quick. It sure did. Now, if you don't have the strength to apply the law, let's make it a little bit easier for you. We apply the law by accepting the law. You apply the law by accepting it. When the moon is full, go outside by the ocean and tell it, recede. It won't. It is law that it rise and be a high tide. So accept the high tide. And you just don't go out. But then when it is low tide, now you go out. Always move within the parameters of the law by way of acceptance. Accept the law. Accept it. How do you know you accept it? Well, in the middle of winter, are you outside without your winter gear? So you have accepted rhythm by way of a season. It's the summer. Man, you outside with as little on as possible because you soaking up the rays. You have accepted summer. You do not fight against summer. You accept it. So if you want to change and you feel like you don't have the mental will to do it anymore, accept the law. Because when you get tired, what do? Don't be like me. Don't push through that. Surrender. Accept has a little bit less resistance to it. Because surrender, when you hear surrender, it usually means you've been fighting, but you have been, right? So surrender is the appropriate word. But to surrender, sometimes we can feel like, I'm giving up, I'm giving in. No, you're not giving up, nor are you giving in. You are ordering yourself. You see, the law creates order. The other side of order is chaos. Which one do you want to accept? Chaos, man, you're going to be fighting everything that moves. Right? The order means when you walk in the shadow of the law, your life is simpler. How do you walk in the shadow of the law? Be cognizant of what you think, because what you think has its own vibration, and whatever that vibration is going to show up in your body. And you'll be swung to and fro by that pendulum. You're over here one day, you swing back, you're over there. Create balance and order in your life. Swing with the pendulum. And the way you swing with the pendulum is by choosing the thought. So walk in the shadow. I keep telling it to you, Psalm 91. Right? He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the All. Right? So today, if you are sitting in that corner and you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I don't have any more fight left, lay down and simply say, I just want to feel relief. I want to feel relief in my body. And as soon as you say that, because your body is listening to you, it has ears, so it hears you. And because you say, oh, I want to feel relief in my body, your body begins to bring you relief. And so now what you do, and you tell your body, how many times can we bring up this feeling of relief? I want to bring it up 20 times. So I'm going to remind you. I'm going to set my timer and I'm going to remind you. Do that for 3 days. On the 4th day, your body will begin to feel relief on its own. Because that's what you're programming it to do. It'll begin to feel relief on its own. And then you have the choice. You want to continue with relief or you want to change it to something else. You see, I tell you, it is a faithful servant. It is faithful to you. But it is a very poor master. It needs to be directed so that it does not run amok at every whim. Oh God, that's so Family Guy. Right? You've got to take it under control. And control doesn't mean you beat it into submission. That's not what you're doing with your body. You're simply guiding it and saying, this is where I want you to be. Remember, finesse over force. The other F word. Finesse over force. I trust that makes sense to you today. I trust it makes sense. Because too many of us are struggling with that when we need not be. You remember the first step. Where are you? Acknowledge where you are. If it's a hellhole, acknowledge it. You can't ignore it. It's in front of your face. So acknowledge where you are. Use the law of polarity to get to. So you say, look, I want to bring there over here. Time travel, Christian. Right? So you say, look, man, this is a hellhole. What I need to feel right now? I want just relief in my body, some peace of mind in my body. That's what I want to feel like. Begin to do that. And then when you do that, an idea will come. They always do. They always come. The idea, depending on the thought and the sensation in your body, will come to match it so that you can experience it on the outside. As I said, 2 days in a row, a problem has the seed of a solution within it. Right? I'm not going to keep you much longer. I haven't spoken very much today, except for this morning and now. Which is unusual. Yeah. Well, Mozinga, I've been reading one of the most profound poets. Out of this world he is, I say. Dare I say. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Oh, he waxes poetic with everything he says. And I guess, I don't know, maybe that's rubbing off. I have no idea, but um, he is. He's amazing. Right? Um, but this is just what I want you to know. Give up. Give in. What? No retreat, no surrender. That's a reggae song in the Caribbean. And who are you not? You're not giving up on yourself and you're not surrendering to defeat. That's what you're doing here. You are accepting the laws as they are. Because what you gonna do? You didn't make the law, so you can't change them. That's how come. See, we have to know where and who we are. The law has been set down to guide. But when you go outside of the parameters of the law, oh dear. Right? Even the oligarchs of society, the hidden hand of whatever's going on in the world, they too have to use the law. They have to use the law in order to do what they're doing to the rest of the planet. So, as I've said, whether you use the law for good, bad, or indifferent, don't think we can get away with things, because cause and effect, correspondence, as within, so without. As within, so without. There's no escaping the law. And the funny thing is, death does not mean you've escaped the law, because the spirit remains. That is governed by law. So it doesn't. Here's the thing. I didn't want to touch on it, but I'm going to. As we live right now, we have a particular vibrational frequency. Our lifestyle has a vibration. That lifestyle consists of the persistent thoughts we have. So that's what sets the vibration that we're on as individuals. So if something happens to you and you are a low vibrational or high vibrational, whenever you expire, that vibration that your spirit has to be with other vibrations that are like it. Why? Correspondence. But that's what it is, right? It's the correspondence. So don't think that we can take that, what I'm saying, without saying it. Read between the lines. Because it doesn't mean that if you take the quote unquote easy way out, that you've escaped. The law is inescapable. The body may have expired, but the spirit cannot expire. And that spirit has a vibration to it. So whatever you leave behind you vibrationally is what you encounter before you, wherever you go. So you hated it here? Listen, so how do you raise the vibration then? Because it will help you to change. How do you raise the vibration? By changing the thought. And how do you know if the vibration has changed? Your body is a transmitter and a receiver and a transmitter. Is that how I'm saying it? Help me out here, Mozinga, my physics man. It receives information and it sends information. Receiver, transmitter, right? That's how you are going to know where your vibration is, depending upon the sensation that the thought has provoked inside your body. Oh, look at the word provoke. Where does it come from? Projection. My resident etymologist, help me out. Because you're projecting that thought from your masculine to the subconscious. And then the body says, I don't like this feeling. So then you have a choice. Keep the body in that feeling, in that sensation, or change it. Remember, your body is your faithful servant. Don't torture it by keeping it in a low state. Elevate it, because when you elevate it vibrationally, it feels better and it performs better. Thereby, if your body performs better, are you not performing better? Yes, you are, because you are inside that body. You are in it. That's why, again, finesse over force. Right? That's how you know what's going on. These are things that we practice on a daily basis. Oh, so then I should say your name is Marcia? Is that how I say it? See? Exactly, Mozinga. You speak it forth. Because remember, to go forth, you have to project it to have it go forth. Law of gender, right? So if you have a particular thought in your mind and your body feels icky, for lack of a better word, it feels gross. Like, oh my God, right? You want your body to feel that? You want to torture your servant? No, you don't. So the servant is saying, hey, this is what I feel like. And that's your cue to say, oh, let's raise that. Let me make you, you say to your body, let me make you feel good. That's what you say to your body. Let me make you feel good. And you change the thought that brings about the sensation of ease and to make your body feel better. It feels better, it moves better. Mm. So you see, at every turn, the law is showing you you don't need to give up. You don't need to give up. Yes, Miss Marcia, darling. North Americans would call it Marcia. But we islanders, we know Marcia when we see it. It's a pleasure to have you in the space, darling. It is a pleasure. I am a Bajan, and I say you said you're Jamaican. So it's nice to meet you. So I trust. Let me recap before I let you go, because let me recap before we go. I like that, Mozinga. The vocal, like to provoke, speak forth vocally. So exactly, right? That's what you're doing. You're using the law of gender to project how you want to feel. So today, remember this. If you are feeling worn out from trying to change, note the word trying to change. Go try and change a baby's diaper. Try it. Yeah, you don't try, we do, or we do not, right? So if you're feeling, oh, I just can't go on, yes, you can. Surrender to the law. Surrender to the law. How do you surrender to the law? You surrender to the law by recognizing what the problem is. Recognize what the problem is. So when you recognize the problem, polarity, right? Solution. What's the solution? Every problem has the seed of the solution within it. I'll give you an example. I normally stream in the living room, but when I narrate, I'm in the closet, right? But the equipment ain't gonna get there by itself. I looked at that equipment and I said, Lord, man, that's a lot of work. I gotta unplug and that's what I said. And I'm like, there has to be an easier way. And not longer than 10 seconds, a flash in my mind, and I saw exactly what I needed to do. I put all the equipment on the chair and I slid the chair across the hardwood floor into the closet. It could not have been simpler. Double A vibes, baby, I see you. It could not have been simpler. So if you are saying to yourself, well, I can't change, well, that's the problem. But within every problem, the seed of the solution is there. So then what do you say? There has to be an easier way to change. And the easiest one is to recognize what the problem is. Because when you can name the problem, you've 80% solved it. I am always late. That's the problem? You're always tardy? Okay. You always tardy. So what's the solution? Set the timer for 10 minutes sooner. So that now you can be on time. And you do it for everything. If you say, I'm going to get there at this time, then you get there at that time or shortly before. But the more you complain about, I'm always being late, and then people say, you're so unreliable. And they say that to you. Yes? That makes you feel bad, doesn't it? And in actuality, it doesn't have to make you feel bad because you know what the problem is and you know how to fix it. So you see, you don't have to fight. Use the law. Late, on time. What is the first step I can do to being on time? Recognizing that you're always late. Mercy. If I had a collection plate, I'd pass it. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen? Yes. Yes. And that's the key. But because we're so busy complaining, and you don't even have to complain with words, yeah? You complain in your thoughts. And you complain in your thoughts, and your body gets tight and anxious, and you start fretting. And then the first thing is, I've been struggling with anxiety for like so long. Not to belittle anxiety, but it is a learned behavior. Something happened, something that was really emotional and just real fast. It wasn't over time. Well, in some cases, anxiety develops over time. For instance, if you grew up with an alcoholic mother, you learned real fast. You developed a case of anxiety. Why? Because you had to move quiet. Because if you wake her up, all hell gonna break loose. So you see how over time you were conditioned to be anxious. So now when you go out into the world, you, as within, so without, you're anxious within you. So you have to experience the anxiety on the outside. So how do you change that? Polarity. I don't like this anxiety. What would I like to be instead? Well, you know what? I want to be calm. Polarity, right? So then you lay there and you tell your body, look, yeah, we've been dealing with this for a while, but you know what? It's just been conditioning. So I just want to start feeling calm now. I want to start seeing what's actually happening because I'm safe. I'm not in danger. Everything is fine. So this is what we're going to do, body. Is there a time we ever felt calm? Do we know what calm feels like? Maybe we had a massage. Where in our memory can you find calm and bring it to me? We already do it. When there's a song that you do not remember the words to, what do you say? What's the name of that song? What's the name of that song? Tell me the name of that song. And you get the name of the song, right? Who told it to you? The same person that you can say, what's a feeling of calm? Let's feel that. Remember, faithful servant. All it needs to do is to have guidance. Just like the car. Now we want to do self-driving cars. Well, the Android in the motherboard still has to know how to interpret information in order to brake or accelerate. So it still has to have a thought guiding it. It may appear to be self-driving, but it is driven by thought. The thought has been programmed in by way of the algorithm. Here are the conditions that we want to see. If you've got rain, here's how we brake. Is it self-driving? So you, my friends, are not self-driving. You are conscious driven. You are conscious driven, which means you have to take Jesus, take the wheel. You have to take the wheel of your life. Your body is that. You tell it. You don't sit there and say, I cannot. You find what the problem is, you identify it, and then you look at the solution. and you start to apply steps to get the solution, you will know exactly what to do. Believe me. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm a little shy. But that's a problem for you then. So what do you want to be able to do? I want to be confident in my speech. Well, what do you know? Because this is where you'll start to gain your confidence. There's something that you know better than anybody else. Practice speaking about what you know in the bathroom mirror. You'll begin to gain your confidence. And you know, the funny thing will happen is you will go somewhere and that topic will come up. And what are you going to do? You're going to speak confidently. Why? Because you know it. And then you start to see something. Oh, I've been confident all along. How do you know you've been confident all along? Because you speak about what you know. The same person speaking about what they don't know and what they do know are the same. So just choose your confidence. Find your confidence. It's there. Conjure it up. And you will find that you are no longer fighting the phantom. Not to be confused with your Rolls Royce. Right? Marcia says no one is coming to help you. We have what we need. Yes, we do have what we need. And it is the law. The law emboldens you. It does. What are the laws? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, gender. Those are the laws. Yes, Marcia, life and death are both in the power of the tongue. So whether you speak life or you speak death, you see, you're still using the same tongue. So just choose. Deuteronomy 28. I put before you life and death, but choose life. So if you start saying things like, well, you know, my main problem is that I just don't have any self-esteem. I just speak so poorly to myself. Well, okay, you've identified the problem. The solution, oh dear, the solution, because remember this, the problem always has the seed of the solution in it. If the problem is you talking to yourself and you don't like the way you speak to yourself, well, then the solution is you talk to yourself. Choose the words. If you don't like the bad words, you say, choose the good words. Does that make sense to you today? Does that make sense? Think about it for a moment. That's what I mean when I tell you that every problem has the seed of a solution in it. And the best way to recognize that, I gave you the example. If you speak poorly to yourself, you are speaking poorly to yourself. That's the problem. So what are you doing? Where's the solution? Speak, because that's the problem. The speech, what you say. So the solution is to change how you speak to yourself and make it your missive, your directive. Give this directive. You know what? I don't speak very good to myself. So I want to be over here. I want to speak good to myself. My first step is what? Recognizing that I speak crummy to myself. Step 2 is, what do I want to say to myself instead? Well, you can't lie to yourself. But what you say, start looking for things that you're good at. Start looking for things that you are good at in your life and start to edify those. You know what? You're good at that. Yeah, you're good at that. And you start to speak to yourself in that way, because then step 2 takes you to step 3. And then you won't allow somebody now to speak poorly to you. Why not? Because you no longer speak poorly to yourself. And you are programming your body to filter out negative talk. So it's not just going to filter out negative self-talk. It will filter out negative talk from the outside of you because it is the receiver. So if you tell it as an algorithm, this is what we hear, well, then it will reject everything that's not what you say. This is how we change our lives and not give up. We use the law. It is your It is what it is. The law is. Period. I can't believe I just said that. You know how they have that thing, they say, period. That's what the law is. Learn to use it. It will make you, help me out here. Help me out here. The law is when you accept the law for what it is. When you accept the law for what it is, you begin to see it everywhere you go. And you begin to keep yourself in alignment with it. And the more you keep yourself in alignment with law, the more beautiful your life becomes, in spite of what is going on around you. This is why you can be bold enough to say, I am in the world, but I am not of it. That has another meaning, you know. But and then he says, you are earthy, but not of earth. Oh, what now? You're in the world, but not of it? Oh, you're not of the world, so where are you of? I tell you these things, words matter. So take the time today and you catch yourself, because now is not the time. Because it doesn't matter where you go, whether you go from here to Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, don't matter. Your vibration is with you. So if you're on the dark side of the moon because of your low vibration, fix it. How do you fix it? How you speak to yourself. And your body will tell you, yeah, this is good. Your body will say, do it again, do it again, do it again. That's what it will tell you when you do it right. But then if you have a thought that is unsavory and your body says, yikes, that hurts, stop. Stop. Do not torture your faithful servant. Love it and respect it. And it will perform beautifully for you as long as you remain here and in it. And the beautiful thing is, when you start to treat your body beautifully, and it's funny, it'll tell you what it wants to eat. Don't worry. It'll tell you what it wants to eat. Listen. And it'll tell you. Because remember, we don't judge, right? I digress. Just practice bringing up the sensation you would like. Because you know what you have to do to bring up the sensation? You have to think about what it is that you would like to experience. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. As within, so without. As above, so below. Everything vibrates between two poles, a swing to and fro, creating a rhythm, an ebb and a flow. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. A projection of the will, giving life, giving form. Those are the principles that govern all. Those are the principles. Learn them. As we say in the Caribbean, recite them. Get ready for your recitation. Right? recite the laws, because as you recite them, they have their own vibration. That's why there's an icosahedron on your screen. Look it up. Sacred geometry. It emits its own vibration. One of water, because that's what it is. It represents water. The tetrahedron represents fire. Water is intuitive. It holds memories. You must learn to balance. This is the first thing we learned in traditional Chinese medicine school. You must learn to balance fire and water. Why? Because man is a fire. But don't get me started. That's a different day. We must learn to balance fire and water. Too much fire in the body will dry. Too much water will cause leakage. It'll saturate the tissues. So you must maintain the balance between those two things, even as you look at it. This is, every day I marvel at the fact that I somehow ended up in TCM school. And what fascinated me about it was the Yellow Emperor, Huang Di. He said, a doctor cannot heal the body, but he must heal the mind. And I was like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean, heal the mind? And he, even in the texts, as above, so below. And I was like, what is this? And so what did I do? I started to dig, because for some reason, somebody left breadcrumbs for me to follow, and I did. I followed them and ended up right here. Who would have thunk it that the modality I wanted to go into for school was a personification of the law? You see, there is no randomness. Cause and effect eliminates randomness. If you know the cause, you can predict the effect. I tell you, if you say, I want to change, you're halfway changed already. Just make the decision. But know that when you commit to the change, you have to stay committed to the change. Think about it. You committed to believing the lies before. So you don't have a problem with commitment. That's not it. You were just committed to the wrong thing. So redirect yourself and commit yourself to the change. Because you are already committed. Just change what you committed to. Look at how long we want to fight and hold on to the lie that you ain't no good. You just like your daddy. You dumb. Look at how long we hold on and defend that way of thinking. You see, you have tenacity. You can hold on. Well, hold on to the right thing. It is irrelevant what you hold on to. But you must choose the thing that you hold on to that will always better your existence. That's all I'm going to tell you. This is the most I talk today. I'm all fired up. Listen, I'm ready to turn on my computer again and finish the rest of the book. But I know I have to rest my voice. That much I know. Because if I don't, the recording won't be the same. But do you understand me today? What to do if you have lost the mental will to change your life? Examine what it is you want to change. Name it and use the law of polarity to take yourself from to. And the minute you say, I want to change, I'm tired of this life, as soon as you say that, you are 80% changed already. Because now all you got to do is start walking in the direction of your change. And the law makes it easy for you. Listen to me. You can't talk more than me. My grandmother's rolling right now. She is. But I found something that I enjoy. Narration. I get to talk as much as I want and in as many characters as I please. Right? This is what you do. You find what it is. Find what it is. Because it is there. It is not hidden from you. So work within the parameter of the law. Find what you do and do it. You are the best at it. You're incomparable. Well, Davina Porter. Well, that is a voice right there. Miss Davina Porter. That is the voice you go to when you want to have your romance novels narrated. Hers. I think she's British, is she? But you are incomparable with whatever it is that you do. And you do it well. That's what you do. And you do it regardless. I get paid to narrate. It's my job. Mutual benefit. This is the law, you understand. Cause and effect. Work within the parameter of the law and watch your life transform. But you have to take the reins. Step 1, recognize what the problem is. Recognize why you think you don't have the will anymore. What have you been fighting? That's the problem. So recognize the problem and name it. Once you name the problem, the solution is in it. So you look at the problem, you say, where's the solution in there? The solution is in there. Because every cause has an effect. You cannot get the effect without the cause, and you can't have the effect if the cause isn't there. So if you have a problem, the solution is there. Look. And you say, where is the solution in this? Where's the solution? I was like, how can I get paid to talk? That's what it is. How can I get paid to talk? But now, the books are different because I am different. So the books I choose reflect why correspondence as within, so without. When you think that you're not good enough, you make the corresponding behavior. That's why the law tells you as within, so without. So if you think the best of yourself, well, then you can only be the best. So today we stop saying this. I'm tired. Remind yourself, I am tenacious. Look at how long I've been holding on to that. Well, you know what? Let me hold on over here. Polarity. They're the same, they're just separated by way of vibration. Because you have to move. Everything moves. So you have to move between the two poles, left and right. One's on the left, one's on the right. They are the same, however. But I digress. I want to tell you all, thank you for coming out today. All of you who were here. I appreciate your time. I truly do. Let me shout out everybody who was here. Me, I was late. Lord have mercy. It's chore day today, so I had to run an errand. And I was like, I've got time. David, thank you for being here. Janesty, thank you for being here and staying. Anot, thank you for being here as well. Christian, thank you for being here also. Walter, thank you for being here. Ms. M, I truly appreciate you being here as well. Mozinga. Yes, Mozinga, honey. And Marcia, it was a pleasure to meet you. And Double A, pleasure to see you. Everyday King, I see you. I see you. Thank you for being here. Let me see. I think that's everybody that was here today. Yes. There's a workshop coming up on February the 24th. Am I going so fast? February the 24th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about forgiveness and actually how to do it. Right? I look forward to seeing you at that. And workshops are free for people who are either on my Patreon or they're a YouTube member. If you aren't, then it is $9. All the information is there um, on the community page for upcoming workshops. I don't remember if I don't remember if I put up the link, but I know the information is there. Consider becoming a member on YouTube. They range from 99 cents a month to $29.99 a month. And if you are looking for a deeper experience and learning the laws and applying them, then Patreon would be the page for you, as there's in-depth information over there. Um, the book I'm working on now, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. Oh, that's the one. I don't even know how many times I've read it. I've already narrated it, but this one is slightly different in that the work hasn't changed. There's still his words, but instead of it being the long chapter, she's broken them out into verses so that they're easier to digest if you're doing study. Oh, Einat, the pleasure. I'm glad that you're safe. You got it. You've got it. Right? So those things are what I'll leave you with. But just know that I love you and I appreciate you. And you don't ever have to sit there and think that, oh no, I'm the only one who feels this way. No, you're not. And if you would like to carry on this conversation with me because you want more assistance, just slide into my DMs and we'll get you started. We'll get your mind right by way of law, not my opinion or my feelings, but the law itself. Right? I love you all, and I thank you for being here today. Much love.